My name is Hassan Sorrells, and this is the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast, Shorts. There's no co-host on Shorts. These are 2 to 4 minute observations, ideas, thoughts, or rants about the literature, philosophy, psychology, and theology of leadership. Because listening to me talk about leadership for 2 to 4 minutes is better than reading and trying to understand yet another business book. The problem is our technological genius is about to render us as irrelevant as the Neanderthals were to the Cro-Magnons. In the race to build a better world, we are building technologies that, when combined with data gathering and analytics, behavioral mapping, and dopamine inducement at scale, that will create gaps between populations that might be insurmountable. Here's a brief case in point. Neanderthals, a species of humans that broke from what we consider to be modern humans about 315,000 to more than 800,000 years ago, had an inability to adapt to change. Neanderthals were robust physically. They were skilled in the hunt. They had culture, but no evidence of language, and they couldn't survive the rise of a better, more adapted human, the aforementioned Cro-Magnons, around 100,000 years ago. A better human with better language, equipped with better tools, with more efficacy with the technology of fire and farming, and a human better able to learn how to adapt mentally and emotionally and psychologically to a rapidly changing social and physical environment. I'm not saying that our technology will allow us to become the Terminator. I'm not even saying that our technology will allow us to merge in a glorious singularity. I'm not saying that our technology will catapult all of us or even a few of us to greatness. I am saying that our cultures, economies, philosophies, and even our very biologies cannot survive intact in their current form if a small percentage of the 8 to 9 billion people on this planet gets to become Cro-Magnons to everyone else's Neanderthals. At worst, the outcome of this is they will be elite, unredeemable tyrants driven by their personal appetites and embodying at horrific scale the pagan Greek idea from the Siege of Melos that the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. At best, they will be technological Eloi, weak and feckless, dependent on the menstruations of the unwashed masses, and they will serve as food for the non-technological among us. You know, the Morlocks. If you've actually read H.G. Wells, you'll catch that reference. So what's the role of leaders here? Well, current thinking with current tools and technologies has us really down to one of 2 options, the Augustinian option and the Benedictine option. The Benedictine option, proposed by Rod Dreher in his book of the same name, rests on the Alasdair MacIntyre quote, and I quote, "If the tradition of virtues was able to survive the horrors of the last dark ages, we are not entirely without hope. We are waiting not for a Godot, but for another, doubtless very different, Saint Benedict." Those pursuing the Benedictine option would hole up in caves, preserving the past and waiting for the AI-driven supermen to line up politely, get in their spaceships, and fly away. Then they would emerge, blinking from their caves into a virgin paradise to rebuild the world anew. The Augustinian option, as proposed by St. Augustine of Hippo, would instead hold the feet of the pagan, non-cosmological, technology-worshipping world to the fire. Augustine, if you read his writing, demands in his writing, in his rhetoric, and in his argumentation that such a culture live up to the rules it has set for itself, particularly when that same culture is behaving and speaking triumphantly about the death of God, tarring the Christian belief system upon which it rests as being hypocritical, and yet still wallows in a lack of meaning brought to it by Nietzsche and all of his philosophical disciples. This begs the thought or the question, why don't we in the 21st century hold the technologists' feet to the fire and make them live up to their own standards? Instead of disengagement, leaders perhaps should pursue a path of engagement by alternative means. You know, the path that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would have proposed. Leaders are going to be pushed inexorably, incessantly, and in many, many cases unwillingly into leading people down one of these two paths. And the time is growing short. We're only 3 to 5 years, if the engineers and the wizards of smart are to be believed, from the Cro-Magnons leaping ahead of the Neanderthals, with, of course, technological support, yet again. And that's it for me. Follow us on all the places that you follow us. Please subscribe to Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast. Please tell your friends. Please like and share. Please also check out the HSCT website for all products and solutions. Please check out the Leading Keys website for products and solutions, our remote training services, our books, our trainings that will help you become a better leader. And watch this space for more information about our upcoming book, 12 Rules for Leaders, a foundational guide to intentional leadership, coming in April 2022. Please also go to HassanSorrells.com for more blogs and more posts about how you can be a better leader, and check out all of our YouTube channels online. Thanks, and have a great rest of your leadership day. Out.